Hello YouTube fam, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Tina and I make videos on lifestyle, home, and DIY projects every single week. So for today's video, I was really in the mood to go thrifting, and as you guys know, I just moved into a new house, so we're gonna need some new items to make this place come to life. So for today's mission, I am on the hunt to find a stool. I want to find something to put my plants on, and I feel like even if you find a tall one, you could cut that down and make it into a cute little plant stand. So fingers crossed that we find one. I also want to find some new organizational pieces, so things like baskets, trays, that kind of a thing. And I also want to find a light. I feel like now that I actually have a house, I have a place to actually put a light and make it permanent. So that is kind of at the top of my list. And then maybe some tapestries or something to make a tapestry with. I think that would be so beautiful. I also am always on the hunt for vases and pots at the thrift store. I feel like they have such a good selection of them over there. And they always have some great ones that you're able to DIY. And the last thing on my list are some wood accents, so things like bowls, trays, that sort of stuff. You can always find those at the thrift store for really cheap, so I'm sure we will find some there. And before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and let's go to the thrift store. I was so excited to go thrifting back in Chicago because I knew that we would find some good stuff, and I really was trying to stick to my list of things, and I had my fingers crossed that we would find some new treasures for the new house. Also, I asked this over on Instagram, but do you guys trust thrift store pillows? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. We found some really good items, and I can't wait to share these finds with you guys. Oh my god, so much stuff! So we're back from the thrift store and we found some really good pieces. And as you guys saw, I only spent $23.70. So let me show you guys what I got. First thing is this giant tray. This was only $2.97. I'm so happy with this tray. It has such beautiful detailing. There are these cutouts in the front which look beautiful, and then this is sectioned off, so this is going to be a great organizer. This will work so perfectly in a kitchen or even in my craft room, which I might use this for. So you could hang this onto the wall and make it a vertical shelf as well, and that would look so cool. I was on a mission to find some wooden accents for my home, and the thrift store definitely did not disappoint, so I did grab this bowl. So this one looks like a hand carven bowl, and it's so beautiful. It also reminds me of one of those candles, like those wooden candles, so I think that is what we're going to DIY with this piece. It originally was $15 from Room and Board, I think, which actually is a bougie store, I think. So you know this is a quality piece, and I just love it so much. It needs a little bit of work. There are things like crayon marks and stuff, but for $4, you cannot beat it. I also found this bowl. It was $1.97, and these are really great, especially for catch-alls. So if you want to put your keys in here, or you can put any other little knickknacks in here, but this is just so perfect. It is in perfect condition, so $2. Super happy about it. This next item I'm super excited for, and you guys saw how happy I was when I saw them. And they are these beautiful Ikea sconces. Oh my gosh. I feel like these are so trendy right now. This silhouette is perfect. It has the nice pleated shade, which is obviously super trendy as well. I think I will keep it as is, and then we'll change up the base here. But like I said, these are from Ikea, and this was only $5.96, and it was half off, so I only got it for $3 basically. And I think it's so funny because this little tag right here says, "This is used, please check before purchasing," because this is sold as is. But since there's no light bulb in here, you can't really check to see if this does work or not. So hopefully when I plug this in, this will turn on. But if not, we can always do the puck light hack. So I will show you guys how we DIY this. I am so excited for this piece. Oh my gosh. Okay, now for the dainty stuff that is all wrapped in newspaper. I honestly don't even remember what I bought, and I just bought it today. So I picked up this beautiful ceramic fan. Something really drew me to this piece. I love the red in it as well as the blue, and there are some neutral tones into it. So if you flip it around, it does say that it was made in Hong Kong, and then the materials are from Japan, and I just think this is so beautiful. And now that I have my own home, I really want to celebrate Asian art and Asian decor, so this is just so perfect. I also just noticed that there are these two holes at the top, so if you wanted to hang this from a wall, that would be perfect. or you can use it as a tray because it does dip here, but I'm in love with this. The price was $2.93, which is kind of a random price, but it was 25% off, so I can't do the math in my head, but still such a great piece at such a great price. What else do we have? So there actually were two of these tiny little jugs, and I just really love the color on them. It does have a design on the front, and it says Crandon Centennial, which I don't really know what that is, but I'm just gonna flip it over and use it as decor this way. I absolutely love the tones on it. It has a beautiful rich mustard color and then a nice rusty orangey brown color, and you guys know I love those tones so much, so I could not resist this. It was only $1.97 and 25% off, so I just couldn't not grab it. The last piece I grabbed was this vase, which I think is such a beautiful shape. It is kind of timeless. You can use this as a vase for florals, or you can also put plants in this, and I think it's just the cutest little pot ever. It was only $3.97, 25% off as well, and this is definitely something that I want to DIY. I don't necessarily like the pattern on here. I usually really love blue and white china, but this one is just not vibing with me, so I will be changing it up and DIYing it in this video. So those were all the pieces that I got. I'm so happy with every single one of them, and I cannot wait to style it. And for the ones that do need to be DIY'd, I'm using really simple techniques, and I'm so excited to show you guys the end result. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello from VoiceOver Tina. Okay, you guys, this first flip is going to be a really good one because it's quick, easy, and it looks amazing. So I'm just taking everything apart, and I'm also going to clean the shade. And these had a little dust on them, and I learned a quick hack on YouTube where this woman used a magic eraser and it just wipes it all away. And this shade actually didn't have as much dirt as I thought it would have on it, but it did clean it up very nicely. I'm also removing these little arrow stickers. I don't know why they left them on here, but you can definitely see them through the front. And that is all I'm doing to these shades. I think they're great the way that they are, but if I did want to, I could totally remove them from the metal ring and just change it up as well. Now for the arms, I wanted this to look like they were actually in the wall, so I'm actually just going to cut the wire off, and this is a great hack, especially since this was only $6, so I don't feel bad about cutting it off. And I'll show you guys this hack in a bit, but I also found that Ikea doesn't make this light anymore, and the bulbs for it are a very special type of bulb, so I decided that this hack was going to be the best option. We are changing up this dark gray color. I wanted them to look a little bit more expensive, so I'm using Rub and Buff in the color Antique Gold. This is just the perfect color, and all you need to do is just to get a little cloth or a paper towel, and as the name suggests, you just rub and buff it on. And when you're working with this, you want to make sure that you're buffing it in pretty hard and also go in circular motions. And this was actually the first time I ever tried rub and buff. I think it actually looks really good. Since there was that dark gray underneath, I knew that this would need 2 coats, but I really liked the aged effect that it was giving onto the surface, especially since the darker color underneath is peeking through in the front. I also noticed that the color was dry to the touch after I had applied it, so this is super nice since the dry time is almost instant. And after that first coat, I did just let it sit for about 45 minutes, and then I went ahead and did a second coat to get even coverage. And some of you guys might be wondering what the heck Rub and Buff even is, but it essentially is a metallic wax paste with fine powders and pigments in it, and that's what gives it this beautiful luster. And now that I'm actually seeing it in person, it doesn't look like any other metallic spray paints that I've used previously, so I do think that this gives it a more realistic metallic finish. It looks a lot more unique, and it comes in so many colors. And from what I've read online, you don't need to seal it, so we are done with this step. Before we put it all back together, I'm going to use these battery operated puck lights in our sconce, and these come with a remote so they're easy to brighten or dim. And on the back of that, I'm just going to add a command strip, and this is going to stick right into our lamp. This is a great option if you don't want any cord showing or you don't want to drill huge holes into your wall to install these, but I would definitely say this hack is probably better for lights that you don't use very often, like night lights or more decorative lights. You guys, how perfect are these sconces? I cannot wait to use them in a future room. I still haven't decided if I want to use it for our bedroom or to use them in the office, but either way, I am so in love with them. They were such a good find, and I hope this inspires you guys to add some new life back into an old light fixture. You guys have seen me use these wooden carving tools with wax, but now it is time for the real deal. We are going to carve some wood today. This piece was just begging for a little personalization, so I'm going to do a simple line design to the surface of the wooden bowl. And I used some masking tape to help me keep the row of vertical lines as straight as possible, and the wood for this project was actually perfect because it's quite soft, so this made it easy to carve into. But I also did a little test piece on the bottom, and this was a good indication of whether or not I was going to be able to carve into it or not. As I'm pushing into the wood, I'm making sure that I have a firm and steady hand and to have as much control as possible. It's really easy for your hand to slip while carving, so make sure that you're careful while using this tool. And one tip that I have is to not go in too deep at first, just because this can result into splitting the wood. So instead, I would suggest carving it into it lightly and then going back in to define it. And once I got to the back side, the design was actually looking so much better just because you could see so much more contrast, and I think the colors here looked a lot better as well. So this was definitely going to be my front side. This whole process is pretty repetitive and the design is very simple, so you can see that all I'm doing is making these little rows of lines. And when I got to the second row, I'm doing some slanted lines. At first, I thought I didn't need the tape, but I definitely did. We're gonna repeat that with additional rows of lines and slanted lines, and I think this just adds some movement to the piece and gives it such a nice graphic element. So this did take quite a bit of time and my fingers hurt after each little section, so I definitely would suggest taking breaks in between just to let your hands rest. And sometimes I'm really bad at that and I forget to take a little breather when I'm making DIYs, but this project was definitely one that I needed to just step back and take a second before I started again. So here's how it's looking. I'm very happy with the carving and I think the wood tones just look so good together. And from here you can leave it as is, or this would also make the perfect vessel for a 2-wick candle. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some wooden wicks and I'm going to glue it into the middle. I came across some microwavable soy wax flakes and I was very curious, so I thought that I would try it for you guys. So this package comes with a pound of wax and all you need to do is to microwave it for 90 seconds per 8 ounces. And since there are 16 ounces in a pound, I microwaved it for 3 minutes. So here's how it looked halfway through. You can see that a little bit of it is melted, so I went ahead and just continued microwaving it. And after the full 3 minutes, you can see that it's all melted down and this is looking pretty good. I added in some sage essential oil for a more earthy scent and I mixed that all up. And I would love to know if you guys have tried microwavable wax before and if there are any big differences between doing it on the stovetop versus the microwave. Otherwise, this microwavable wax has 2 thumbs up for me. So I let that set and I cut down the wicks and that finished off our brand new candle. This piece just looks so high-end and I think it'd be perfect for a dining room or styled on a coffee table. I love the handmade look of the bowl and the carvings we added to it just add so much personality to it. And this was just the perfect project to flip this plain wooden bowl. First things first, we need to do a little bit of sanding to add something for our spray paint to grip onto. So I'm giving that a quick sand all the way around. And today I'm trying out limestone textured spray paint for the first time ever. I got it in a very light off-white sandy color and this texture is honestly so good. This might even look better than the terracotta spray paint, and it also comes in a couple of different colors, so you can really have a lot of fun with the spray paint to create a stone look. I did about 2 to 3 coats of this just to make sure that it covered everything up, and as I was spraying I did notice that the glaze on this pot was a little bit uneven, so you may see some spots here and there, but that is totally fine because our design is going to distract from that. After that was all dried, I went ahead and mixed up some paints, and I'm using the terracotta paints from Folk Art for a design. I used this paint a couple videos ago and I really love this, and I think the texture is just going to match the stone perfectly. So I mixed up two colors in Dusty Trail and Pueblo, and I really love how this color just looks together with the limestone spray paint. And for this pot, I'm going for a very minimal modern design. So using a small paintbrush, I'm just adding in some organic wavy lines. And for each one of these lines, I'm trying to make the width of it really even throughout. And from there, I'm painting on different shapes like little circles and lines to create an abstract design. I really did not plan this design out at all. I kind of just went with what felt right and just filled in some of the negative space. But this type of design is very much inspired by other ceramic pieces and rugs and even wall hangings that I've seen online. But we're able to get the same look for just a fraction of the price. So I think this is a very simple flip, but it makes such an impact. I am totally obsessed with this thrift flip. There's just something so beautiful about this color combo and the simple design that I'm really loving. This would be the perfect pot for a little plant, or you can just style it on its own on a shelf, and I would think it would look just as fabulous. I hope you guys enjoyed thrifting with me and making those flips. I am really in love with each and every one of them. And let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. I think my favorite definitely has to be these little sconces. I am just so in love with them. They are just so good, and I'm really excited to use Rub and Buff again because this looks amazing. I also just found out that that wooden bowl that I found is called a dough bowl, so if you want to make candles, you can definitely find those online, and I'll link where you can find those in the description box if you guys are interested in that project. This video was so much fun, and I cannot wait to decorate with all the things that I found and that I flipped. And keep your eyes peeled because I'll actually be using some of these pieces in my upcoming makeover video. So that video is coming out on Sunday, so make sure that you guys have your notifications on. And if you guys want to keep up to date with me on day-to-day things, make sure that you follow me over on Instagram. I post on there every single day. And that is it for me today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!